So we have another comment that I wanted to go ahead and take a look at. So shout out to the Video Game Fight School community. Keep leaving the comments. If you disagree with what I say, by all means, let me know in the comment section. I feel like the conversation is best served when everybody can voice out their opinions here. Now, don't go nasty on me. I'll block you. And I'm serious. Anyways, got a comment from an audience member when I made my video saying that the competition or the console war between Xbox and PlayStation has taken a different turn. Basically, the tables turned once Xbox found themselves in a position where slowly but surely they were pushing for the future, seeing how consoles were, in my opinion anyways, something that they realized was going to, in a sense, change perception. There was also data, and I mentioned this in one of my videos, which was available back in 2016, 2017, when NPD and Circana took some, metrics and found out that of 54% of gamers that they were able to survey, about 67% of them were PC gamers. Now, since the gaming market has reached a place where, according to Sean Layden and other industry leaders, is not really growing as much, the only, I would say deduction you can take from that is that, most of these players that are building PCs are coming from somewhere. Either they're being born and given PCs, or they're coming from prior console, usage to building PCs or adding PCs to their arsenal. Now, the comments was very interesting because I think it's really, great that we take a look at this stuff so we can see, okay, are we on point? Are we making crap up? This person said VG wants to dismiss the console war term because of his bias. Okay, what would my bias be? Anyways, let's keep going. I'm a PC player, by the way, again, through and through, even though most of my playtime has been on PlayStation, right, in terms of consoles. But hey, by and large, when I moved to PC in 2016, I don't caught up on that time and pretty much beaten it. But let's keep reading and see what my bias is being claimed to be. Truth is, the console war was clearly won by Sony. I don't think anybody disputes that the console war in terms of sales numbers, was lost or was even a close race between Xbox and Sony. But again, let me go ahead and point out how, if you want to be technical, sir, let's be technical. Nintendo actually won the console war if it was in terms of sales in this generation, right? Now, overall, the PS2 is still the highest selling platform. Don't get me wrong, but I'm going to show you guys that metric again for a little bit. And then he wrote, forcing Microsoft to change strategy and like Sega in the past to become a publisher. Okay, this is a convoluted statement and we got to clean it up because again, when people say my bias, I have to understand and say, well, if you're going to say I'm biased, then you have to be accurate when you're talking about this. Number one and number two and number three. PlayStation and Xbox are both third-party publishers, including Nintendo too. Nintendo has published 5 games on mobile, and that qualifies them as a third-party publisher. Netflix is not a third-party streaming service. They stream everything on Netflix in one place. Other, different, motion picture, TV show makers, they put their stuff on Netflix, but Netflix does not put its stuff anywhere else that I know. So this whole talk about, Xbox being like Sega is a lie from the pits of hell. You just wish that Xbox would probably be in a place where they don't have any consoles anymore. And if you keep saying that, you think it's a flex, but Sega is vibing right now. Anybody seen Sega lately? They are flexing to the wind. Every game that they've put out lately has just been a win and a win and a win. If anybody is comparing you to Sega, then you're doing something right because Sega looked and they stayed sustainable without having to buy or even own any hardware. Tencent is one of the biggest in the world. They own no hardware or anything. However, what makes them different from Xbox is that Xbox actually owns hardware. And even PlayStation nailed it down for y'all, but you guys don't like looking at this document. So here it is, because I know it's like sunlight to vampires. It says this in the Activision Blizzard threat analysis. It says Sony's pillars are already dated and behind the competition. Why? Because Microsoft can supply multi-game at the subscription level 50%, console games 50%, and PC 60%. So Xbox is still here using the 30 plus million and growing console owners as a piece of the pie. So if you don't get the picture, I may go ahead and paint it for you so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So if we look at this chart, you can see this. Now, maybe at one point in time, Xbox pretty much had the 100% strategy, right? So in terms of console, before they came up with moving to PC and so on and so forth, they had a 100% console slice. They had a very small emphasis on PC. They had a tinier emphasis even on the, subscription side in terms of, say, something like Game Pass. But they already had, Xbox Live Gold. So that was already a significant piece of the puzzle. But 100% all of their business at the time was done on console. However, what PlayStation is saying is this has moved to 50% in terms of console for their business strategy, then 50% for their subscription strategy in terms of, say, Game Pass and others, and then for PC, where they've pretty much used to make up the rest of their business to 60%. So this is definitely something, ladies and gentlemen, that I don't know why, for some strange reason, PlayStation players will find a way to go ahead and modify this reality in their minds and then walk blindly and then end up in the room with a big door named Sega. Like, that's just kind of weird, guys. Y'all making it really weird because it has its own subscription service. It's more like EA and Ubisoft. What? PlayStation's got a subscription service as well. They call it PlayStation Plus Premium. If you're paying for that, I mean, it's a subscription service, but it is nothing like Game Pass. In fact, EA and Ubisoft services are also nothing like, Game Pass. Why? Because Game Pass has a broader, wider selection. In fact, Game Pass is pretty much the best of all the subscription services. There is no, challenge in this regard that, Game Pass absolutely rocks. If we were to maybe say take an instance of looking at Game Pass, you're going to see. Another thing, ladies and gentlemen, is EA Play is inside of Game Pass. So for this person to come out and say this is just so amazing to me that they would say, oh yeah, your subscription service that carries this other subscription service is like this subscription service. It's a bunch of hokey, ladies and gentlemen. This is how most of our fellow PlayStation fans come up with these fugazis. Now, they said the competition is not the same anymore. Now that Xbox put their games on PlayStation and PlayStation put their games on Xbox and Nintendo, they both make money from each other. Just like EA putting FIFA on PlayStation, they make money on the sale and, Sony takes its platform commissions. Yes, it does. But here's the thing, though. Sony may be making money and has always been making money from Call of Duty. But all this while, Xbox has been farming their platform for Minecraft money and also now for Call of Duty money and any other game that they decide to put on there. Because, again, you guys are jumping the wagon. You're not looking at the chess move that's going on here, that this is only based on convenience. As long as PC players, which is 60%, and console players, which is 50%, and subscribers, which is 50%, continue to play these Xbox games, they may or may not move those games to PlayStation. And the likelihood continues to reduce as these games continue to stack up more players on PC. This is the reality that this commenter is missing out, or maybe purposefully ignoring, because it's right there in front of everybody, right? We can all see this thing. And so there's something we need to take very close attention in terms of how we're putting all this stuff out here. So let's keep reading. They said this. They said, putting their games on PlayStation putting their games on PlayStation is making Xbox console obsolete in the eyes of many. You weren't gonna buy an Xbox, you know that, right? Like, let me be honest. Now, I don't know if you own an Xbox, but anybody who had not bought an Xbox at this point, right, was more than likely not going to buy one. Let me tell you who also understands this reality. It's PlayStation. PlayStation understands that for those that are on PC, right? Let me go back. For those that are on PC, right? They were not going to go ahead and buy. Let me go to PlayStation Studios, right? They were not going to buy a PlayStation. They were never going to buy one. So what did PlayStation do? They went ahead and put their games on PC. If putting your games on another platform makes your platform look irrelevant, then your platform never really did have anything to, offer in the first place. Hey, of which Xbox's platform does have enough diversity where it is still attractive, even though people don't have an Xbox platform. Do you see how Xbox pretty much has smoked PlayStation because they've created pretty much a big, huge platform that rocks? Since Xbox basically surrendered as the Xbox console, it makes Microsoft an indirect competitor to Sony, just like EA and Ubisoft, not anymore a direct one. nobody would say Sony and EA are direct competitors. Sony says that Xbox and them are competitors. It said it right there. It said our pillars are dated and behind the competition. Hey, the only competition I see here is Xbox. They didn't say Nintendo. Nintendo didn't buy Activision. Nintendo didn't buy Bethesda. They are direct competitors. Now, sure, Xbox's business has expanded to the point where it has Google and Apple in its sights, but it has overtaken PlayStation, aka the leapfrog. Look at it right here in this document again. Open your eyes. Activision provides incredible strategic value across blah, 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 blah. And then they said this. They said Microsoft pretty much has leapfrogged over us. Where's the leapfrog thing that they said? It's right here somewhere. Go read Jez Corden's article, okay? Yeah, it talks about it here in Windows Central. You can see the leapfrogging and all of that craziness going on. So yes, they are still direct competitors. In fact, I at some point, wrongly presumed that they were not going to be direct competitors anymore, but they really are. I mean, think about it. If you go to the stores at Walmart, I mean, who do they all set their, products in the same exact area or at least beside each other? In GameStop, it's Xbox stuff and PlayStation stuff. They even categorize it by color, by, big emblems everywhere. So again, this is not necessarily a statement based in reality. And then they said this: purchasing companies like Bethesda and Activision is the only choice they had, since transitioning to a publisher would need something to make up for their loss in revenue for the console sales and, console platform gaming commissions. Every time you say this, I say hold a mirror up, because PlayStation has done and even failed at the same thing at the time being. They purchased Activision Blizzard, right? Which has now netted them a bunch of money. Then PlayStation purchased Bungie, which they have now gutted more than anything else. Then they also gutted and closed down Firewalk Studio and also another studio. So PlayStation is doing the exact same thing, yet your mirror is cracked when you look at PlayStation, right? When you look at Xbox, you see clearly what they're doing, but then PlayStation doing the exact same thing. You're like, huh? It's foggy out here. The only reason Xbox did not end up exactly just like Sega, which you had just said they were like Sega, you then come around and try to then tear down your argument, is because Microsoft is freaking rich. Well, that's what PlayStation found out. They messed around. They were over there with their long tooth trying to block everything. And did you tell everybody in your comment? You wrote a big long comment, but there's nowhere where you said that it was because PlayStation was trying to go ahead and money hat Starfield that triggered a $70 billion shopping spree. But again, you see, Xbox was already strategic. They were just laying in wait for where they would be able to get good content to put on Game Pass. Buying other publishers was on their minds. They had been shopping around for Warner Brothers. The only reason they didn't go for it is because they weren't going to own the Batman IP. And Phil Spencer is not a big fan of, a lot of these IPs. I don't think we're going to be seeing a lot of these licensed games. Yes, Blade is there in Indiana Jones, but I think that's a Bethesda, what would I call it? Ambition in a sense. So by and large, my fellow PlayStation fanboys, maybe keep doing this. You're going to keep giving me videos to make. But again, it kind of makes it really weird that you say that Xbox is doing all this stuff because they failed. They lost the console war, while PlayStation is literally walking in their shadows and following them. And it's good that Microsoft is freaking rich, because PlayStation would have literally, sold you all $1,000 console without any. Oh, wait, they sold you all $1,000 console. Crap. You should be happy that Microsoft is still in the game. If not, most of you that play on PlayStation alone, you would be smoked by this company. They would nickel and dime you every single freaking day if they could. It is because Xbox is here playing heavy games, doing some heavyweight lifting. That's why PlayStation has not gone rogue on you, because they kind of have, but most of you, you still need to open your eyes to see it. And again, you will see it you will see it at some point, because for the most part, a lot of us did see it. But I'll get out of your hair. Thank you so much for watching the video. Ladies and gentlemen, judge in the comment section. Let me hear your thoughts. Peace out.